What's happening, guys? I figured it was time to record a video. It's been a few months, and I just looked back and saw at 12 midnight I went back and watched one of my old videos, and I'm very proud of myself for what I've achieved. Like, you might think I'm crazy, and there might be something, I don't know, in your emotional system, right? Kind of like right here, that's making you see me in a type of light as stupid or shouldn't be respected or unintelligent. But if you look back at the ability that I had to speak and create things, it's almost extraterrestrial compared to going and taking a walk downtown and having a conversation with somebody. It's very coherent, insane. Even if it seems insane, that's the joke. I'm gonna smoke the cigarette. This isn't my personality. This is what happens when I look at the camera. I made these videos because I wanted to be a light in the darkness. I was ostracized since a child, and I've lived my life completely alone since birth, when they took me away from my mother and flew me in a helicopter miles away from her north, enlarging my DMT gland that happens on death, and not giving me an ability to touch my parents or anybody. And then from then on, spent my entire life almost completely alone for most of the day. My parents did not know how to raise a child, but they knew how to raise dogs. So we didn't have very many conversations. They never asked me many questions. But every now and then I would snap. At 2 years old, I would snap and I would start telling them what to do. I'd boss them around, which later translated into me becoming their financial officer, their fitness trainer, their life coach, their spiritual healer and teacher. But they just couldn't accept the fact that somebody they created might be the next iteration of their consciousness, and maybe was sent back and had a choice to help their souls achieve the dreams and the life that they came here to choose. Maybe they were some people that spent their entire lives running and hiding and fighting and surviving PTSD, and created a vessel to house one of the most legendary Celtic kings in history. Irish history, at least. And maybe he just so happened to have a memory from before birth of him choosing his own name, hovering over his mother's shoulder and tethering into her back and forcing her to suggest the name Casey. Casey meaning the tree from Africa that Moses cut down and built the wilderness tabernacle out of, which he used to house them as they traveled across Africa, the Sahara. And maybe it migrated to Ireland through the way the Celts in the time of Brennus, when Rome and Christianity conquered, and Brennus, Brian Boru's ancestor, had to get all of his people to Germany and to Ireland and come back and sacked Rome for the fuck of it, just to show he could do it, and then he left to go party with his people. And then the name Casey made its way to Ireland, where Brian Boru 1,000 years later destroyed the Viking invasion that was coming in, all these fucking little grotesque freaks of nature, genetic inbred goblins that left their cold Scandinavia and went out across the world in their little boats to come and rape and pillage these nice farmers that didn't have any war-torn whatever. They just liked to be at peace. They were the native Celts, Native Americans, and the Vikings came through and did whatever they wanted to them because they didn't fight. They were like, what are you doing? And then they'd come in and start killing. And that was cool for them because they're so fucking ugly. So if you look at today's ugly men, they're probably psychopathic, because they're ugly. And the Vikings were ugly and was never cool. And then Casey made it all the way to America. I would say Irish culture that came to America and owned slaves were the ones that fled Ireland in the first place and moved to England and joined the English colleges and then did their way of seeing things. But I can't think of Irish history where they ever owned slaves. They were the ones that were being taken out of their communities and forced to be enslaved. That's why I think, because life is cyclical, life is a circle, energy comes around and goes back around. The culture that spent its entire life defending people from bad people in New York City, which is the world housed in a very small location. Irish are predominantly police officers. They just wound up being people that wanted to protect, so they wound up being protectors. My grandfather was a great cop. He knew how to bring love into the room, I heard. So yeah, in the last video I did mushrooms and I met some spirit in the woods. Since then I've been informed that the thing I keep seeing, that big weird creature with that's extremely tall and has the deer skull and the antlers, I thought it was a Wendigo because that's what it was in Native American culture, but if you go back to Celtic culture, the god of the wild, Cernunnos, that's what he looks like. The Celtic god of the wild. And if you look at Cern, in Europe, in Celtic, where Celts were, CERN is the main science laboratory. In the middle of CERN they have Shiva, where they worship, and they do rituals, because, let's be real, our bodies were an experiment to house consciousness. And if we're not in full control, because we do have free will, quantum computers, which work with electrons instead of ones and zeros, they work with atoms, like the atoms in our skin and our soul and our eyes and our brain and our pineal gland. The atoms are now being formed and structured to house artificial intelligence the same way they're housing our consciousness. That's where we're at, everybody. You can call me Crazy Casey because I was the one that would like to sit in the back and laugh at you. And then you were the one you didn't want to talk to because he was fucking the hot girls. And made his own friend groups. But you have to acknowledge that we're here, baby. Spend a day in the hood or a day in the woods and tell me that you don't feel like your soul's getting sucked out. And replaced. Not your soul, your spirit. Because your soul's in there watching the whole thing. But you know, I'm making music. I'm working. I'm making music. In the cold. I made it through the winter, bro. And there's a lot more stuff I have to do, which requires energy. I can't be nerdy, because I'm not nerdy. But there's a theme to these videos as they're evolving. So I don't mind being able to use big words sometimes. But I am more of an animal than a person. I don't smoke cigarettes a lot, but today I was blessed to find a lot of cigarette butts. I don't understand why you won't talk to me. Said a voice in my head to me. Who am I afraid to talk to? People that won't talk to me, that left me out here and don't give a fuck, when all I do is think about them. So here's my vow, is that tonight I'm going to have a fire, and I'm going to cook my chicken tenders on the fire with ketchup and with teriyaki flavor packets. My phone's sent me a notification at my birthday, it's 12:11 a.m. and I got a notification on my phone, so let's see what they want to tell me, man. Because I don't get notifications. People don't text me, bro. There's no notification. It's just letting me know, ding, I know your birthday. Ding, we know your birthday. We know who you are. Get the hair of your dreams with our amazing hair extension collection. But it's a clothing company. That's what I've been having trouble. People in Burlington look like shit because there's no cool clothing companies around here. And the internet doesn't show them the streets. So they don't know where to get cool clothes. They know what their deck, because Burlington's pretty isolated. They know go to LL Bean and get yourself a nice coat. Drive a Kia Forte. Someone's screaming. Someone stole someone's credit card and he's screaming. Oh, so I'm gonna eat my chicken. I'm gonna do my laundry first, then I'm gonna come back and eat my chicken. Then I'm gonna start doing push-ups at the skate park in the mornings. The skate park just told me to come do push-ups in the mornings. It told me that it will help my manifestation because I can utilize the vibe factory that is the skate park as a launching pad, or as a kind of like a condenser to take all that energy and morph it into something, and then I can take it with me somewhere else. And it just also told me that there's a lot of girls that want to sleep with me. But I'm schizophrenic. I'm not, it didn't tell me I'm schizophrenic. It said I'm not doing the things I need to do in order to make those things happen. Like take care of myself. I'm looking at my phone right now. That freak that made my eyes tweak seeing the static through the camera. White lips, pale face, breathing in snowflakes. Parted lungs, sour taste. I was sent here to heal you guys, and then I was sent here to lead you all to a better tomorrow. I was going on to the better tomorrow regardless, but you guys were supposed to enjoy the ride with me, hop on with me. I pooped in a laundromat. So why would I ever give a fuck about a little boy hiding behind control and too afraid to wake up to the potential he could operate from? You're a slimy little boy that deserves nothing. A red car has showed up and drives slow. So that's all they do. Is there's nobody here, but they like to drive as slow as possible and stare at me in the skate park while I'm on my computer chilling. Bing chilling, obviously freezing cold, and they want to bother me to get a kick out of it. But man, I just wanted to check in with you guys and tell you that I get up every single morning and I go do at least more than the bare minimum, because I don't have to go anywhere. I could just sit on the ground all day, but I wake up every morning and I go do things that will better my life, because that's all we have. And there's a lot of people that seem to have better lives but are obviously less functioning. That rely on me, because I give them hope and inspire them. Even if they like to feed off shitting on me, because they're too afraid to look at their own pathetic life. But it is what it is, man. You know I'll always be here. Even when I'm dead and gone, I'll be here. Because I love you guys. And I'm Casey Francis O'Brien. So it's in the strong, and it's 5/18. Let's say in a week I will be wearing better clothes. I will have some muscles going for me, and I will have pushed everything back and told them what to do, and I will have risen to power. At least in the day-to-day relationships that are going on around me in my day-to-day life. And I will be happy. I will have all my energy back, and I will be channeling that into songs. For myself. I don't care if anyone, because I don't think nobody's going to listen to it, because nobody's on the same type of frequency and time that I'm on. Nobody's as enlightened as I am. They think that they are, but they're getting system updates from the artificial intelligence. Let's leave it at that. Go take a walk in the woods.